Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the presentation. So after we had last week the presentation from Bimser International related to their quality management solution, today we will talk about BEAM, which is the enterprise asset management solution of Bimser International. And without long talk from me in advance there, so I'm just handing over to Kevin and Anderson. And so please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thorsten. I think we can get started, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Much appreciated. So I'll start with a brief company presentation, and then I'm going to leave it to our pre-sales software engineer, Anderson. We are Bimser International. We are an enterprise software maker since 1998. We are based in New York. In essence, and also, let me introduce also myself. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm the managing director of Bimser International. I am also based in New York. Today, I'm with my colleague, Anderson Wang. He's our pre-sales software engineer. I think I can continue with our presentation now. So, as Bimser International, we help organizations simplify their processes, and we help them digitally transform themselves. That is what we do. We are a group of companies. Our software development center and our headquarters is based in Istanbul metro area, where the yellow dot is. And we have another company called Bimser Europe for our European sales operations. And us, Bimser International, based in New York City. As a group, we are about 150 people, and we are growing. We are a growing organization. Bimser is ISO 9001 certified and ISO 27001 certified. And we have a certification called Ping Verify for our solution called IBA ITSM for IT service management and for ITOM requirements. I'd like to also give you brief information about our product line. We have been doing the same thing. We are very focused since 1998. That makes us a specialist. We have IBA. IBA is our workflow and document management platform. It helps companies manage their internal processes in an electronic environment. We have BEAM, that we'll talk more about today, is our asset, maintenance, facility, and energy management software. It helps companies manage their assets, machinery, equipment, cars, truck, facility, to schedule maintenance, to manage the maintenance costs, to manage the spare parts inventory, to manage energy costs that we'll talk more about today in detail. There is also Acumatica certified solution, BEAM. Another product of ours is called QDMS that we talked last week about it. It is also Acumatica certified solution. It is a quality, risk, and compliance management software. It helps companies comply with various standards, ISO, BRC, SQF, and helps companies manage their quality control operations. And finally, we have Ensemble as a business process management tool. So when we look at how we position our products, Ensemble is more of a managerial tool with performance management and balanced scorecard capabilities. IBA, BEAM, QDMS, they automate processes. All of our products, they can work standalone, they can be integrated with each other, and they can be integrated with any system via web service APIs. We have also mobile apps available. Our products work on cloud, they work on-premise servers, so we have up-to-date technology available. Since we have been doing it 1998, we have deployed many projects, and we have many clients globally. When we look at how many clients that we have, for instance, as for IBA, we have more than 520 clients. We have, as for B, we have more than 340 clients, and as for QDMS, we have more than 920 clients, and Ensemble more than 150 clients and counting. These are global figures by the end of last year. So we've been doing it for a while, so that is great experience. That's great know-how that we have that's offering to our partners and our clients. I like to also give you some information about some of our references. These are some references that I picked. These are very reputable organizations. 3M is one of our clients. They are using our product in 17 different countries. We have United Nations. They are using our document management system for refugee tracking. We have Bridgestone, Ford, Renault, Nissan Alliance. They are also using our workflow engine for their internal processes, including manufacturing operations and internal administrative operations. We have AstraZeneca in pharma industry as an example. We have Societe Generale in banking, finance, and finally we have ArcLight movie theaters based in California. They are also using our product in association with their purchasing management operations. So these are some of our references that we have. These are enterprise level companies. We work with many different sizes of companies. We have clients with 100 employees. We have clients with 10,000 employees. The reason being our products are scalable. They can scale up, they can scale down. So that gives us the flexibility to work with any size of company, basically, including mid-sized companies and large size companies. So in a nutshell, that's who we are and what we do. We are very excited about our partnership with Acumatica and Acumatica Asia. And Beam, we believe that Beam is a great complementary product for Acumatica Cloud ERP system. And now I like to leave it to my colleague, Anderson Wang, so that he can address Beam, our asset and maintenance management system in detail. And he'll also show you part of the system to give you an idea. And then I'll get back to you. And then I'd like to share information about our partnership model. Thank you very much. Anderson?
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing the company introduction. Hello, everybody who is just tuning in. My name is Anderson. I am a pre-sales software engineer with Bimser International. Today, we're going to go through a little presentation on our asset and maintenance management system, Beam. And afterwards, we will show a little bit into our demo environment that we have prepared for this meeting. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to start off by talking about the features and benefits of Beam. How it works is that you can purchase the modules that you specifically need, depending on your particular demands in regards to maintenance. Like any of our other products at Bimser International, our products are modular, meaning you can scale up or scale down, and exactly that. Beam is a Acumatica certified product, meaning that you can integrate it very easily with Acumatica. It also works with any other ERP systems if any company is working with those pre-existing before Beam. With Beam, you have 3 different types of users. You could be a requester, which is such as a typical employee, or a standard user or part of the maintenance team, as well as administrators. And with this design of having 3 different types of users, you can design your own workflows, because every maintenance team could have different processes about how we distribute a work order among different users in the system. This is a great way, the way that we implement having 3 types of users. Beam can have that flexibility to design any workflow. Beam has the ability to generate up to 10,000 reports, and all of these reports are generated from real-time data that is monitored on Beam. So along with that, we also have the KPI performance tracking. We'll go into it later once you go into the home screen. Right when you log in, we have a very, very well laid out dashboard that has this data that you can monitor over real time. So we've had some feedback from our current clients, and these are very positive feedback. They've mentioned that they have significantly reduced their maintenance costs by 15 to 20%, and also they had reduced their failures by 40 to 80%. So these are very, very proud numbers that we work on, and we are still working on improving them. Yes, so As you can tell, we have a mobile application with Beam. This is the most advantageous use of Beam since, for example, you can use your phone to take a picture of a particular asset or even assign barcodes or QR codes to this asset. Not only do you have the barcode to document or take note of which asset, or identify the asset rather, you can also take pictures of any failures, and that is a good evidence or a good supplement to your work request or work order. Anything that you can do through the web interface of Beam, you can also do access from your phone. So that also includes your calendar, if you are scheduled to run a maintenance, and any other following any other workflow, you can also pull it up through your mobile application of Beam. So in this sense, Beam is very advantageous to have a mobile application for the people working on the ground in manufacturing or maintenance. It's very ground level and user friendly in that sense. This slide is going to present the basic system requirements for implementing Beam. It's very standard. The compatibility of the operating system is Windows. It is a Windows native application that Beam has been around for 20 years, as much as we have a company. Right. So on the slide, we have presented the different modules of Beam, and everything really revolves around these four basic modules on the right, highlighted in dark. When a company starts using this software, the first thing, commonly they would upload all of their assets, whether it be like trucks, machinery, equipment, facilities. They would upload it through whatever documents they may have, maybe like an Excel sheet, for example, and upload it straight to Beam. And that is the simple implementation and setup of Beam. More often when we talk about maintenance, we are talking about the 3 M's. These 3 M's are machine, material, and man. These basic modules here is tackling each one of those M's. So, for example, asset management, that is when we are talking about machine. Yes, you can have all the list of your assets, and you can manage. You can have all these assets. You can design any type of status regarding it. You can also assign their locations or anything preventive work orders that are associated to these assets you can use through this module. We also have the inventory management. These are our spare parts, or the material M. And this is a good way to take care of all of the spare parts that they need to be managed in a warehouse. Yeah, so you can also, through here, manage how you transfer spare parts and inventory among warehouses, for example. And then the last M, man, is referring to our personnel management. And this is a way for us to generate a calendar or create work orders and assign them to particular users so that they can work on their work orders without having to conflict in schedules based on a process or the other people who are working in the team. And alongside that, we have our maintenance management. And if you could read here, we have corrective, preventive, and predictive. These are targeting those when, for instance, a machine that corrective maintenance, meaning that if someone, if a asset were to fail, we can directly create a work order to tackle that instance. There's also the preventive maintenance, which is when, for example, if we see that this machine needs to be checked periodically, for example, every 6 months, then you could use you can create a work order to periodically check on that. And there's also a predictive maintenance management, which means that maybe we can monitor a machine, a particular machine. Most common example would be like a machine that that functions based on the temperature. So if the temperature goes above its threshold or below its threshold, we can automatically generate a work order or a work request from there. And those are the main types of maintenances that you can generate through Beam. And then alongside we have on the right side we have these other modules. These are very much so very nice supplements to our main modules on asset and maintenance and our man and material. These include purchasing management, energy management, services, and facility management. We also have other modules such as calibration or GIS integration. And yes, with each of these modules, there are, again, the reporting tool. So you can generate up to 10,000 types of reports, and each of them can be customized to whichever your liking. Here, we're going to talk about some of our references. There are very notable references from this list, such as Barilla Henkel. There's an international paper that uses Beam for their international operations. KFC is using Beam in Turkey and some locations in the Middle East, while Starbucks in the Middle East is also using Beam to maintain their coffee machines. So if you can tell from this wide selection that there's a lot of opportunities to use Beam. There's a lot of types of machinery that a company might be running that does need to be maintained, does need to be monitored, and Beam is a great way to handle those tasks, automate those processes, and oversee the general process.
If I might just short add there, KFC is our customer in Singapore, so they are operating Acumatica as well.
Oh, that is wonderful news. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can talk more about the Acumatica integration of Beam later. There, how it's been so far is very easy. Like Beam can take information straight from Acumatica, and anything that is maintained or run on based on like a work order request through Beam will be reflected on in Acumatica. So it's a very, very convenient integration step. And yes, so that our references span from all around the world, and a great thing about Beam is that it provides multiple languages, and also multiple currencies. So we have references all around the world. We have references in Brazil, China, Kenya, and it is multilingual. So there are companies who are running Beam in different environments and different languages and different currencies. And that is something that is always growing with Beam. Okay, so now allow me to bring up. Right now, I am at the login page for Beam. And right here off the bat, I can actually drag down. This dropdown is providing a list of the companies that I could look into. And that is up for the manager or the very higher up who has maybe multiple different locations of a company. They can go in and take a peek at what is happening with all of the maintenances within those. All right, and when you see off the bat, I had mentioned earlier, we have this dashboard. This dashboard is real time. It is all customizable. Really, you can design it in any way you'd like. And these are, sorry, I don't have my, apologies, I'm having trouble sliding. I'm having trouble scrolling down. Please hold on. I need to grab a mouse. I believe the scroll function on my trackpad is a little unreliable, unfortunately. Okay. Here we go. Yes. So there are multiple widgets and customizable widgets that you can bring up into this dashboard. And yes, all of this is customizable. You can refresh them at any time. You can also arrange this dashboard however you'd like. This canvas is actually very fluid, very flexible for you to maneuver through. And once you look into particular types of work orders, you can also see the different types of costs or different charts based on whichever your selection. You can also go into the design function of all of this, and then let's say you want to change a few of these widgets, you definitely can. There's plenty to choose from. Beam is an entirely customizable design, and you can really build it in any way you need. So without further ado, let's go into the main menu here. To start off, maybe you are in charge of a company that has multiple locations. That is definitely a great opportunity to use Beam. What we have here is a way to place and dictate all of your locations across a map. This is a well-integrated map that is brought into our Beam system. And there may be different locations, different warehouses, or maybe even trucks that are being bringing things over to different locations. So among warehouses, then you can actually watch them and maneuver and monitor them through this little map. And that goes for warehouses. We also have our asset list. So right now we're, as you guys just seen, I am through the main menu. I'm looking at my asset module, and these are the list of assets that we have. And you can see that these, you can actually drag around these types of fields that you searched for. And not only that, you can also bring up more fields to select from. I believe if you have a column chooser that brings here, and you can say, maybe I want to view at the barcode number of my assets, you can just drag and drop, and right there, it is already in your scene. And you can also maybe hide a column. So it's, yes, there's many different fields and many different ways to categorize your assets, and Beam makes it very simple to bring it up in any type of filtering method you'd like. Right now, we can show the asset tree, and this is a more structured view of looking at the hierarchy of our assets. Most often we have like a company and a operation at a particular location, then our cost centers and departments. And here we have, yes. But that is what you need to know, is that the assets are lined up in a nice little structure, a little hierarchy of location, department, cost center, and from there. There's also another way to maneuver and monitor your assets, and that is our graphical asset tree. And what the graphical asset tree is, a way for a company, they can upload the blueprints of their processes. Maybe this could be like a floor in a warehouse, for example, and they can assign the locations of their assets. And as you can see, like as I'm waving my mouse over these green dots, I'm getting a status report of that exact asset. So I have truck 2, truck 3 here. You can see the status and location and operation with that. And these dots are green. Green meaning that they are good to go. If they were ever to be red, that means if these dots were to ever turn into the color red, that means that there's a work order being associated with that, and that is something that if you were to even click on it, you can generate your work requests or your work orders from there. Also, just view the asset directly or show the history. So you can just quickly open up the dialog box that will show all the descriptions of the assets. So you wouldn't have to even go back into the asset list and define it and look through it through all those filter methods. You can actually just pick and choose it from your graphical asset tree, which is also much more convenient in actuality and practice. And while we're here, we're going to talk about all the different types of tabs that you can use to provide all these categorizations or metadata regarding an asset. And yes, these tabs are a lot. You can see all the different types of maintenance plans, maintenance teams in charge are associated, pictures, documents. These are all dependent on our clients, dependent on however the customer would like the beam to be run, such that we can see already here that this company Milestone seems to be more in tune with their transportation and their vehicles, and that's why we have our environment designed up in this sense. So that is the same. This is the same type of dialogue that you would fix when you are creating an asset, but you can also enter it straight from the graphical asset tree, and you can. It's very easy. You can just zoom in, zoom out, drag around, and with the more locations and the more operations that you hold, so long as you can generate or upload a blueprint, you can easily put all of your assets on there and have a bird's eye view of all of your processes. We're gonna dive right into the maintenance module. So this is a list of the work requests that have been submitted. I can actually, you can see that there are different types of categorizations of what kind of maintenance. There's failure, periodical. These are defined through the administrative use. There's a fast work request option. This is this will provide a way to, for example, if you need a emergency work request, you can actually do that from here. And it's very quick and easy in the sense that you always, you put in the exact information that you need to start a work request. And when that work request is started, you will be classified by the status gray, meaning that it is not being run or is not being worked on. Red meaning that it is being worked on. And you can see that reflected in the list of work orders. So I'm going to click into the work orders, and here we have just 2 of the recent work requests that have been approved and are now being worked on and assigned. You can also look at your preventive maintenance here. So you go into your preventive maintenance plans, and these are the types of plans that you can lay out for your periodic maintenance. This is what we had mentioned before, the preventive maintenance, right? So we can actually go click in, view, and see what we have in these orders, and you can see that there's a way to really define the cost and the maintenance time of these plans, and this is a way that a company can really manage how we run our maintenance plans over time. And within each module, I would like to reiterate that we do have the reports function. So with each module, there is the reports. So let's say I wanted to go see our assets and see our, let's say we want to see just all of their statuses. Let's just go right into the default. We can see what it will generate is a nice visual representation of all the statuses of our assets. And you can also choose to export them depending on whichever type of report that you'd like. And you wouldn't have to even click and make this report each time. You can even schedule it here. There's a way to schedule it based on how many days a week, how many days a year, and what type of period you would like to have this report generated. And the same goes through the way you go through your maintenance. There's also the reports here. Now I would like to look at the list of materials that we have in this system. And here is just a bunch of spare parts. And later on, you can go into seeing how many of these spare parts are distributed among our warehouses. In fact, we can actually do a material transaction between these warehouses. So let's say I would like to have a material transfer. And if I do so, I can easily go into this ad here. And depending on whichever material that I would like to transfer, let's say this one. And we'll just transfer 2. And a lot of the mandatory fields will be denoted by a bold. So there's that way to manage a warehouse transfer right here, you can say which one is receiving it, which warehouse is receiving this transfer, and which warehouse is exporting that transfer, and you can manage your warehouse transfers from there. And that's a great way to reduce the cost of spare parts, because as tricky as inventory can go over time, it's probably more cost efficient to have a transaction or have a material transfer from a nearby warehouse than to purchase entirely new set of inventory. That is a great money saver with that. And now lastly we have our personnel management module, and the highlight of this one would be the calendar, the occupation calendar. So if a maintenance team with multiple users, maintenance and work orders can build up over time. You can have it such that other members of the team, their work requests or their scheduled maintenances will also show up, and you can work around that. And that way you can really manage your shifts amongst everyone. And then, yes, lastly, we have just a purchasing module that is for those who are interested in managing the costs of any maintenance, any assets, any transfers. And that was a quick demonstration of what Beam looks like on the front end. Before I continue, maybe I can open up. Are there any questions regarding Beam? Anything people would like to see?
There are no questions at the moment, but maybe for everybody again, if you have any questions or would like to know anything additional to what we are showing here, please enter this into the question box on your screen or in the chat window. But at the moment, it's no questions. Okay, cool. Well, before I bring it back to, before I pass the mic back to Kevin, I'll also like to mention that we do have a video on our YouTube that explains the Beam and Acumatica integration. That's a rather new one. So how it would work is, I'll just do a quick scrub through. So it's a very quick integrative step in which you take Acumatica system information, and in less than a minute, you can bring it all into Beam, make a quick change, and it'll be reflected back into Acumatica. We can provide this link in a later moment, but that is the idea. Just to mention that Beam is integrated, can integrate with Acumatica, and there is more to come with that. Maybe you can send the link to me, then I can share it together with the recording to everybody who registered. Wonderful. In this. Great. Then in which case, I will return back to our presentation. Hold on.